Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amy and I'm currently on a journey to repay 6 figures worth of student loan debt. Today I'm going to be sharing our October 2021 budget. I'm so excited for this month. It's going to be an awesome month for debt payoff and all of our other financial goals. So if you're interested in our October budget, keep on watching. So for the month of October, we actually have a 5th check. So we will have a little bit of extra W-2 income from our regular jobs. We are expecting approximately $8,900 from both of our regular incomes. So if you've watched my budget videos in the past, we typically only budget for money that we 100% know will be coming to us. I never budget for our side hustle income or any like extra random income that we might receive. My husband and I both have some potential for bonuses occasionally during some months, and so I never budget according to that. I just always end up putting that in our budget when it happens. So if you are interested, I do film every single month a coordinating video with this video. That is our budget closeout. I will link in the cards my most recent budget closeout. That kind of gives you a better whole financial picture. It includes our side hustle income or any additional income that we received, as well as where all of our money went, what exactly we spent from all of our expenses. So definitely check those videos out if you enjoy these videos. But for this video, we just budget based on our actual just income, flat what we will expect from our regular jobs. One thing that I have been including though is the child tax credit. So we have been receiving that every single month. So I have been including that in our budget because we have been receiving that faithfully every single month. So that is something that I have been including in our income. So that brings our total income for the month of October to $9,450. So next we always go down to our fixed expenses. So our fixed expenses are expenses that don't typically change from month to month. They're just our bare bone, regular expenses like our mortgage, cell phones, things like that. So first is our mortgage. So this will actually be for November 1st. I typically budget our mortgage for the month following because of the way that our paychecks fall, if that makes sense. So that will be $1,284 for our mortgage. Then we also have our cell phones. And I know I talked about last month possibly trying to switch to a cheaper cell phone provider, but as of now, based on the feedback that I got about that, we have decided to table that until next year and kind of reevaluate it then. Basically, we just feel like it's not worth trying to mess with our cell phones at this point. We both are very heavy cell phone users and I'm just nervous about switching. So for now, we've decided to table it. That might change. I'm kind of tossed up about it still, but that is where we're at with the cell phones. I know that is probably pretty pricey for cell phones, but that is just what we've been paying for a long time. And we have cut down our budget in a lot of other areas. So I feel like one area that we probably are overspending a little bit is probably fine. We've cut back our budget a lot and I feel like if it gives us a little bit of peace of mind about our cell phones, I feel like it's kind of valid to leave it for now. So then we have Netflix, which is $15 a month. That is one of the only subscriptions that we still have. We have canceled a lot of our subscriptions over the years just to try to get our bills down to bare minimum. And then we do have a Peloton bike, so we do pay the Peloton fee. I just view that as basically a gym membership, honestly. That's just how I view it. I know that a lot of people might think that that is expensive, but for us, that was pretty comparable to what we were paying for our gym memberships previously, so that is just what it is. Internet, we currently are paying $60, but I noticed on my recent bill that it will be going up probably in December, I think it was. So I'm gonna talk to my husband and see what we wanna do about that. I really don't want to pay, I think it's $75 after our promotion expires. I really don't want to pay $75 for internet. So I'm not sure if we're going to try to call them and see if they will honor a lower price, or we might switch again, which we've switched multiple times with internet providers. That's not my favorite option, but it is an option for us. So we will kind of see when that happens, or when we're closer to that. Probably I'll call in November or so. And then a newer one that we had last month as well is preschool. So my daughter did start a preschool program. I did get a comment asking why this says weekly. So we pay it weekly. The budgeted amount that I'm about to write is the monthly amount. So it actually did increase starting in the month of October as well, because they have their new tuition rates for 2021-2022 school year. So it did increase a little bit. We pay $131 a week. So there's actually 5 weeks that we'll have to pay it in October. So it is a little bit higher in October because we do have to pay for 5 weeks just based on how the dates are falling. So it is a little bit more expensive this month, but that's okay because we actually have the 5th paycheck that kind of offsets some of those higher expenses based on the weeks. So preschool will be $655. She does go very part-time right now, so that is cheap in my area for a part-time program. I know childcare is very expensive. I am grateful that we have a center that is reasonably priced as far as our area, but it is just very expensive. But it is a expense that we have been mentally preparing to pay for quite a while now. And yes, that it is just kind of what it is. I mean, I know it's what's best for her. She really needs to be in like a learning environment. And it'll just be good for her to be going back. So she has been enjoying it so far. She just started in September. So far, so good. So that brings our total remaining after all of our fixed expenses to $7,255. So then I just bring that amount up to our variable expenses. So for variable expenses this month, we have our electric bill. We've been doing really great on our electric bill lately. I don't know. I think it's just because we've been trying to like keep our AC off and just, keep the windows open and not use as much electricity. So I'm really happy with how we've been doing on our electric bill lately. But we are coming into the cooler months, and I know that it'll probably go up a little bit. So I am budgeting $200 a month for October. That will be for September's usage. That is probably pretty high, but that is something that I adjust in our budget closeout video, like I mentioned. So that will just get adjusted. If it's a little bit high, then we will just allocate the extra to debt, and that is fine. I'd rather have like more in the budget for these things than less. So I typically just go with 200. Then we do have our personal spending. So right now we are both getting $50 a month. If you watched my Life After Debt video, I will link it in the cards if you have not watched that yet. That video, I talked a little bit about increasing our personal spending once we're debt free. So that is a category once we are debt free that you will see increasing. That's just a personal decision that we made. We've been rocking it out with $50 a month for personal spending for quite some time now. And, there's like some weeks that I would like a little bit extra just to do some things that I want to do with my personal money, like maybe get a pedicure or extra things. So that will be exciting and just kind of a way to reward ourselves once we are debt free. I feel like it is completely valid if you want to change some of your budget once you're debt free. I feel like you are allowed to have a little bit more flexibility, or at least I would like to allow myself a little bit more flexibility once we're debt free, because I feel like that is a huge accomplishment financially, and that it's just worth, giving yourself a little bit extra. For gas, we've been doing $125 a month. That has been working out great. As of right now, I am still primarily working from home. It's kind of like in flux right now. My employer is allowing people to come back to the office, but it's not a requirement yet. So I have still primarily been working from home. I'm not quite sure how much that will change, especially since I am pregnant. I'm hoping that I will be able to keep working from home until my maternity leave. So we will kind of see how that happens. If I do end up going back to work in the office like a few days a week or full time again, I will definitely have to increase our gas budget. So that's kind of one that I'm just watching. And then we have our grocery budget. So this is for groceries and like household items, basically anything that I get from like Walmart or Target, those kind of things. So this would be like paper towel and toilet paper and shampoo and all that stuff. So groceries, we have actually decided to increase this budget. So over the last few months of my budget closeouts, you've probably realized that we've been over budget in our grocery category quite a bit. And I feel like $500 just was no longer reasonable for us. So we have decided to increase it to $550. I feel like that is a much more realistic budget for me. And I would just rather be honest with myself about what we are actually spending. And I think that's something that I've learned as we've been budgeting for the last few years, is just it's okay to change your budget. Like, you don't need to be so rigid all the time, and it's okay if you realize that something is no longer working for you. My daughter is growing up. She's now 2, and I feel like when she was younger, it was much easier for us to stick to under $500 a month. However, now that she's growing and eating a lot more, and my son is 7 and eating what feels like an adult size portion at most meals now, it just is no longer realistic for us to spend $500. So we have decided to bump that up to $550 going forward. So that is a change that you will see. Then we have our miscellaneous budget. So this is kind of just like anything random that doesn't really fit into any other categories. So things for our kids or clothes or anything random that we need during the month. This has just worked out well for us to have because it kind of just lets us have a catch-all area of like anything miscellaneous. So we actually are bumping this budget up for this month only because of Halloween. So I need to go get my son a costume for like trick-or-treating and stuff, and we will probably get like some treats and stuff. So I'm just putting an extra $50 into this category, and that will just kind of absorb any of the extra like Halloween type costs. I'm not sure if we're like doing anything special or anything else, but I just want to give myself a little bit more flexibility with the holiday coming up. You will probably see that in the next few months, obviously with Thanksgiving in November and with Christmas in December. We do have a Christmas sinking fund, so the majority of those expenses will be coming out of that, but there might be just some added flexibility because obviously with the holidays, people are typically traveling, and those are all things to consider as well. So for dining out, we have $200. That has been working out well, and that is not a budget that I necessarily want to increase right now, at least until we're debt free. So even though we've been sometimes going over that budget, it is not a budget that I would like to increase yet, at least. So we will be rocking with $200 for, the next few months. We'll see how that goes. I know it's such a struggle when I'm pregnant, especially too, because, a lot of days I'm just like, I really don't want to cook. And, I'm sure any of you moms out there can relate to that, especially when you are pregnant, because it's like some days no food sounds good to me, but we've been trying to meal plan and just trying to make it work as much as we can. And we've definitely done better this pregnancy than we did with my daughter because, that was really rough. I feel like our dining out budget when I was pregnant with my daughter was like out the window most months. So I am happy with the fact that we've been doing a little bit better. So next up, that gives us a total remaining of $5,830. So next up is our sinking funds category. So we currently are funding our car sinking fund, our home sinking fund, our Christmas sinking fund, our kids sinking fund, which is a new one that I created last month, and our vacation. So these are like our core sinking funds. I don't anticipate making any additional sinking funds anytime in the future. We did just add this kids sinking fund, which I have enjoyed having. We have not actually had to use it yet, but I know the things that I'm going to want to use it for, and I feel like it will be very valuable, like for back to school and sports fees, especially now that our kids are getting older. Like there's just like school fees and everything that pop up like seemingly out of nowhere. And so I thought it would just be really valuable to have that sinking fund. I will report back probably in the next few months and see if it's something that we're actually using or maybe a category that we don't actually need. We'll see. I have just put it there for now, and we are just funding it pretty minimally for now. And I'm putting $50 a month into the kids sinking fund. That's kind of what I've been doing for the last few months, or for the last couple of months that I've had this. So we are doing 50 for car, 100 for home, 50 for Christmas, 50 for kids, and 100 for vacation. So we are actually estimating that we will have approximately like $775 in our Christmas sinking fund. We did have a little bit of extra money from last year that we didn't use that I left in that sinking fund. And that's why we've only been funding it $50 a month for the last year, basically, because we did have a little bit of a cushion from last year. So next year, you will probably see that sinking fund amount go up because I don't anticipate that we will have leftover this year. We didn't travel as much as we normally do for Christmas because of obviously everything that was going on in 2020. So we did just have some additional money in there from like not having to spend as much traveling and all that kind of stuff. So I do anticipate that we'll probably use all of it this year. So we'll see. I have just put it there for now, and we are just funding it pretty minimally for now. but I like having a little bit extra in there. So if we do have extra, we will just roll that over. So that brings our total sinking funds to $350. Again, the sinking funds are not something that we are like too heavily funding right now because we are still in debt and are still focusing on our debt repayment. Our sinking fund funding will probably get a little bit higher once we're out of debt and want to try to focus more on like just building those sinking funds up. So that brings us with a remaining of $5,480. And if you've been following me, you know where that's going. That is going all to debt. So $5,480 is going to debt. I feel like that is an amazing debt payment. I'm so excited for the month of October. There's a lot of debt goals that we are working towards this month. We are hoping to get under $20,000 in debt. And that is a huge milestone, as well as 85% paid off, as well as finally paying off my Target loan that I have been working on for the last few months. So it will be a really exciting month in October. I'm so excited to share it with you guys. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button down below and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye guys.